Now that the other video is uploading, I'll just go ahead and continue playing. I realized earlier that my troops out here have increased maintenance costs because they're outside of my borders. So this is part of what's hurting my economy. So I'm going to go ahead and retreat. And maybe I can use these for defensive purposes. I need to start focusing more on my economic situation. So it's very important that I work on this. I know I need a settler here, but working this cottage will help me a lot. And I need to use some of these workers to start cottaging up these tiles. This will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they're going to go over here and start working on cottages. Karakoram will work the cottages here, and it should make the city a little better as far as its gold production goes. I'm not going to end up with access to this gold, I think. So my luxury resources will be this incense once I get calendar, this wine once I get monarchy, and this elephant as soon as I put a city down on this tile. I should have done that first instead of this one. The happiness from the camp would make a huge difference for the rest of my empire. Happiness is a very important resource to manage, especially on the higher difficulties. By finishing sailing as quickly as possible, I'll unlock internal trade a little better. Though it looks like my trade routes are working just fine right now. So maybe sailing is not an important technology to get right now. Instead, I'm going to go for I think an immediate monarchy is wise, so that I can use the wine. I'll settle 17 turns. I'll settle this. This will expand, and then I'll want to start using the spline tile for luxury immediately. I'll fortify this vulture. The Spanish captured this barbarian city. That's fine. I made their job easier for them. I shouldn't have done that. It was just me. I wanted to fight, but inevitably I will have to fight Pakal. But I'll probably be able to get Dagall to fight with me, because he's my neighbor and we're going to be allies because we are the same religion. So let's get open borders so that we can create trade routes between us. I'm also going to try to get open borders with Victoria for the same reason. But I'm not going to get open borders with Bakal because well, actually, I already have open borders with him. Even though we are not going to be friendly for too much longer, I think. Build a cottage. Yeah, this is somewhat helping my technology situation. The silver is an available luxury as well. It's not as good as gold as a tile, but it produces 1 happiness in cities. So that cottage is now done. Once this library is finished, I can whip out the library, but I'm not going to. I'll start a cottage here. Karakoram is a good cottage city because of the floodplains and lots of access to food. Probably should chop out this library. That would be wise, but I'm low on workers. In a more peaceful strategy, I would have more workers, better luxuries probably, so my cities would be larger, and my science rate would be much higher. So I'm falling behind on technology compared to where I would like to be. But the reason my score is so high is because I have all of this territory and all these cities. And very shortly I will have even more. I want to keep an eye on Darius. I'll go get rid of that barbarian. I'll fortify him. Okay. I better not see any settlers coming over this way, or I will fight to the death for this city here. Okay. See, I was at +1, now I'm at 0 because these 2 vultures left my territory. So their maintenance cost goes up. I'll take an open borders agreement with Tsar Yacob. He's Judaism, but I don't see the founder of Judaism anywhere. This could be because the person who founded Judaism also founded one of these other 2 religions. That happens sometimes. So that's not their state religion, so it doesn't show up here. But it was the founder. In fact, we can find out. Okay, Holy City unknown. We don't know who founded Judaism yet. Interesting. Okay, I only have 1 city that's Hindu. And all of the other ones are Buddhist. So I need to start chopping now. I want that monastery out basically immediately. I'll kill that archer. I don't really want Buddhism, because of the diplomatic situation. So although I can make Buddhist stuff, I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to make another worker in Eridu. I'll chop these 2 forests to get this monastery out quickly. And then once the monastery is online, I'll have Karakoram producing as many missionaries as it possibly can. I'll probably mine these at least this hill for Karakoram as well. Swordsmen are really good. I have access to iron, so swordsmen are very powerful for attacking cities. But they're not really that much better than vultures. And vultures will come out approximately equal. So the swordsmen are better than vultures for city attack, because they start with the bonus city attack, whereas the vulture is only plus 25% versus melee. But the swordsman is an extra 5 hammers, which does make a little bit of a difference. And it comes at a later technology. So most of the time when I do this strategy as Sumeria, especially with a different leader of Sumeria. By the time I get access to swordsmen, I've already made enough vultures that I never feel like it's worth making swordsmen from any of my cities. So I'll start another worker. Great. I'll start a camp. This camp will be hooked up immediately. There's already a road network going to it. So in 2 turns, all of my cities will become somewhat happier. This city has excellent production, so it's going to make a barracks, and then immediately it will be ready to start making units. This will make a granary first. Yeah, I like this guy, and I don't like the Spanish. So I'll cancel those deals. But that does mean that my scout will get kicked out. So I can no longer look inside of his territory. Okay, Roosevelt is over here. I have open borders with him so I can continue scouting this way. Excellent. Now I have a camp. McCall really doesn't like me because I canceled those deals with him. So I should be prepared to go to war probably soon. And I don't have fast moving units, so because I don't have access to horses. So I will need to make sure that my units are already in good defensive positions against an attack by McCall. I have some vultures over here. That's good. I will have a great scientist coming out soon. Okay, that Hindu monastery should be done soon. I'm gonna go ahead and mine up these 2. Well, I'll do this one over here. Okay, the barracks here is complete. The city doesn't really do much commerce. So there's not much of a point in making a library here. The game encourages me to do so, but it's completely pointless. Instead, I'm going to make a unit here. I will make a spearman. I don't have any spearmen, so if Pakal comes at me with mounted units, my vultures have a problem. Chariots get bonus attack against axemen, and vultures are axemen. I should still be able to win that fight. You know, like, my units are very well promoted. But spearmen would make that a lot easier. So I want to put a spearman in each of these 3 cities. I'm going to put these vultures in Kish. Okay, let's focus on production for a bit here. My economy is recovering. I'm doing a little better. But a lot of that is because of Uruk producing research. It's not really anything better it could be making, because I don't need units. So, it's a perfectly fine way to use that city's hammers. Okay. Karakoram is now angry. So, let's take away some of its food and make it stagnant. In just a moment, it may become happier with me. No, I need a temple. It's fine. I'm going to get the overflow and use the overflow to produce missionaries next turn. And I don't want it to grow at all. So, let's do this. This is stagnant growth. And once these mines are done, I'll switch to that instead. Just keeping an eye on some of these units over here. I'll make a spearman from this city as well. Wait, does this have a barracks yet? Yeah, it does. Units with an extra level or two are significantly better than units without it. The reason is, if you have a unit that barely wins a fight, it will heal up and it will be not a loss at all. Barely losing the fight is much worse than barely winning the fight. So changing your odds of winning a fight from 40% to 55% or to 65% with the appropriate promotion, huge gains. The cost of each unit is not insignificant. The majority of my total production in this game has been military units. So if I were to waste these units, it would be as if I threw away half of my nation's productivity in the trash. Generally not a smart way to play the game. Let's see. I really do want organized religion. I need monotheism for that. I'm going to get it after monarchy. Monarchy gives me access to a really strong civic. I want it as quickly as I can. Great scientist. I'm going to make an academy with the great scientist. Notice this is 28.25. The academy adds plus 50% science to the entire city. So this is a very smart thing to do with the first great scientist. You can do missionary. Perfect. That's the overflow hammers doing their job.
A multitude of rulers is not a good thing. Let there be one ruler, one king.
I'm going to hold off on actually switching to the hereditary rule civic until I get access to organized religion. I want both of these at the same time. So I'm going to grab monotheism as quickly as I can. And let's see who will trade me. Wow, I've skyrocketed to the top of the charts here. Will you trade me masonry and sailing for monarchy? Perfect. I don't mind helping Roosevelt.
From their foes,
he's my friend.
Not their friend. You can't direct cities learn the lesson of building a high wall.
Yeah, if you click through the tech things quickly, the voices will overlap. I know I probably should wait longer on those, but I've seen them so many times I get kind of tired of them. Victoria became Hindu, so she is going to be my friend now. She does not want to trade technologies with me, though. No, neither does he. Let's check Caesar. Not interested. Let's check Darius. Also, not interested. He's of the wrong religion, but yeah, he won't trade with me. It wonders and stuff. But it looks like he's in a warlike mood. I don't have enough to convince him, but the options are open to convince him to start a war. The Gaul doesn't like me enough. Some leaders are more mercenary in their approach to war. It's easier to buy them off. De Gaulle, he'll be a really cooperative ally if he's good friends with you. He'll go to war with the people you want him to go to war with, and so on. But if he's not really close to you, he doesn't allow other nations to influence his foreign policy. Nations like Shaka's really easy to convince to go to war. The easiest way to keep Shaka of the Zulu from attacking you is to make sure that he's always attacking someone else. He doesn't want to stop trading with Pakal. What about Roosevelt? He is willing to declare war on de Gaulle. He doesn't really want to, it seems. Okay. I have a missionary here. I'm going to see what cities have happiness problems. Karakoram does. It's a big city. So maybe I'll whip out a temple in Karakoram in a couple of turns, just to cut down on the population and to get the temple's +1 happiness. But in the meantime, this city is at cap, and this city is at cap. The city has access to more food. This one has a decent food surplus as it is. AD. Yeah, let's get this out as quickly as possible. And then we'll switch to scientists in this city. But in the interest of getting a higher cap on the cities, I'm going to start with a missionary in this one. I'll leave my capital alone for now. I don't really intend on growing it, not in the immediate future. 5 turns until this city pops and I can get wine as well for another luxury. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to chop some of these forests. Alright, so now this city has access to much more production than it did before. Yeah, again, I'm going to wait until I have access to organized religion. Okay, Karakoram will whip really hard. Lose half of its population. But then I'll immediately switch it back to the really heavy food tiles that it was working before. Just as a temporary measure. So it'll grow back really quickly. Okay, it looks like the Hindus have taken over the majority of the civilizations at this point. That's good if you want to play peacefully, and it does give me a good target. Because I can attack Bakal without much worry of other people attacking me and spoiling my fun. Yeah, I'm going to chop out a granary here. Chop. And, well, I'll have the spearmen go to this city. Spread the religion. It won't let me start the Hindu missionary yet on that screen because it hadn't updated, but on the city screen itself it will. And I'm going to start that. It's important for me to get that up quickly so that I can finish spreading missionaries to my other cities. I'll make another spearman here. Just for self-defense purposes against any horses that might try to come in and spoil my fun. Okay. Sure, he converted to the right religion, so I'm going to be friendly with him. I don't like when the AI tries to tell me what to make. It gives decent advice if you're a new player, but if you already have a plan for what your cities are doing, the AI's advice tends to not be super compatible with those plans. Alright, I should have changed the city to working better tiles multiple turns ago. And it's a really dumb error for me to mess that up. It has multiple happiness available for growth. So there's no point in stopping its growth. But it's not going to have a super high cap. These are decent food resources, the deer and the cow, but they're not exceptional. The corn is 6 food. These are each only 4. So this city is not going to become enormous. The goal for me would be to get it to size 5, working these 3 tiles for 10 food, and then the extra 2 citizens will be scientists and some other type. That would be the most efficient way to use this city. So for now, the goal is to just get it to grow up to size 5 as quickly as possible. So if I'm going to be using it for scientists, maybe I can go ahead and make a monastery here. It won't be handy now, but it will be later. Now that the borders have popped, I can chop a few more of these forests up here. I'll make a few more missionaries to make it grow.
Not at all similar.
I actually
are the
don't
race of the
need
immortal
this
gods
monastery,
and the race of men who walk upon the earth.
but it will give me a little extra science in the city. So I'm going to make it anyway. I won't need it because once I switch to organized religion, I'll be able to make missionaries without a monastery anyway. Okay, this cannot be allowed. This is totally unacceptable to me. This is far too advanced. This is part of why I should have left this city alone. This was an unforced error. So this is going to have to be dealt with. Probably swiftly and violently. I have enough nearby vultures that I can just come in and crush this. And there's nothing that he can do about it. I might keep it, but if I conquer it at size 1, it will be automatically raised, because cities always lose 1 size when they're captured. And sometimes they lose size when they lose a combat against an attacker. It's kind of complicated under what circumstances the cities shrink after combat. In any case, my number 1 priority is to deal with this. Pakal cannot simply capture territory that rightfully belongs to the Sumerian people. And so, he must be destroyed. I'm also still working on my economy. 50% is tolerable because of my scientists. But I can't stop growing. I must continue to improve my output. Maybe I can find a way to grab these gems, which is another good lux. Maybe I'll put a city here. And once I start conquering Pakal's territory, we'll see how well it turns out. He's got some luxuries over here that I don't have, like spices and dyes. So immediately gearing up for another large attack on Pakal seems like it would be a decent plan. But doing it with vultures probably isn't the best way to do it. Probably going for construction. Yes. After this, we'll go for construction immediately. I might be able to trade for mathematics and get construction for war elephants and catapults and use those to conquer Pakal's cities. I can probably put up a really good fight with just the vultures, but in the long run it's going to take more to get deep into his territory. So, that's it for this video. In the next video, we find out how war preparations go and spreading Hinduism throughout our lands to improve the happiness situation so that our cities can grow to work more tiles. Now, we also will likely need more warriors. So there's so many different systems interacting here for trying to maximize the productivity in my cities. I have a really strong position, but there are definitely ways that I could have played it better. This is an axeman. I don't win if I attack it. This is because of the way the math works. I'll go into the forest. I should be able to win that fight there. Either way, see you in the next video.